fun to get into it. I spent maybe the first 2, 3, even 4 days of the new set just playing around with Portalcraft. Other than that, Giant Chimera. You guys will see it from me soon. It's my favorite thing to do right now.
Giant Chimera. I would love to see the Giant Chimera today. But Fantasy and Crumsion are going to be kicking it off, and we're going to get the full Daria experience right here, right now.
Let's go. And this is a pretty good starting hand. If Crumsion can find a Daria here, he's got the tools, he's got the insight, he's got the magic missile.
What in your mind are the mulligan rules for Daria?
It's tough. So any rune deck, and I'll put this as a blanket statement, other than Burn Runecraft, because Burn Runecraft plays its own game. If you're playing spells, you have to know. Yeah.
Oh no!
Those are the mulligan rules. You draw Daria. That's the mulligan rule.
Is it any consolation that there's 2 Breath of the Salamanders here, or do you think it's just going to blow through that?
I don't think Breath of the Salamander without any ramp is actually going to be fast enough to stop an aggressive Daria start. Now, the thing about mulliganing with Daria, it's about the deck you're playing against. You have a curve that can actually do things. Against Dragon, very specifically, you want to have a card draw curve into Daria because you need to get that Daria online as soon as possible. The later the game goes, the worse and worse Daria gets. Against, say, like Shadow or like Burn Rune or something, you just need a curve to do something. You don't necessarily need the Daria to be immediate. So it's all game and matchup dependent.
How do you feel about this bout? Oh, wow, he had to pass turn 4. That is not good.
That is not good.
That is very not good. So Crumsion is about to kick into high gear what he can ramp. The only thing that I'm always thinking about is how do you balance the difference between drawing a card before you play your Daria and actually ramping? Playing things like Insight are obviously very good for getting that spell boost.
Especially when you see stuff like that happen. When you Magic Missile into the Ogler, when you want that Ogler to happen after the Daria, things like that. That's just something you have to give and take with any type of spell boost deck. You have to play your cards. You know what I mean? If you do happen to overdraw into a second Daria or your Oglers or whatever, you just kind of have to take that, you know, and roll with the punches.
Right, Daria lessons. There's a first bit of ramp here, and he's going to have to leave that Clay Golem in play.
And again, not another card you want to see here.
Yep.
But this could be a hand where I think Crumsion rotates. So this is a mindset change when you're a Daria player. Maybe I can just eke out the advantage of every single card in my hand and then play Daria for just a draw engine as opposed to just this crazy board fill. He does have a
Blade Mage, so there's a world where you could Blade Mage Enchanted Blade and then Daria. Right?
Yep. And I think that's what he's looking to do here. Get every single card out of his hand that he can. Yeah, this turn is just ridiculous. Like even Breath of the Salamander is not going to be good enough here.
Yeah. And his next turn is going to be even heftier, right?
Yep.
If you Breath of the Salamander here, he's got another one coming.
And one bad thing about that Star Phoenix is that it made Fantasy overdraw. So even if he were to draw something like an Israfil to help him out this turn, no access to it.
Yep. All right, last set. Ooh, okay. I don't think that's actually too bad.
No, I don't think this Daria is that big of a deal. It really just comes down to the next Daria anyway.
Yeah.
I still think
he can't play his Piercing Rune though is a little bit frustrating.
I think Crumsion's going to hold pat. He's got so much damage in his hand already. I don't think he needs to throw it away. And I think he might even consider playing a concentration. Yeah, just to get more things going this turn.
Yeah, he's going to lock himself into his own mental cave as Exo did.
Figure out the right play.
Yeah.
That's right. Basically, when you're a Rune player at this point, you've got to be thinking, okay, what do the next 2/3 turns look like? If they play XYZ, does this plan of action work? If they play, you know, ABC, does this plan of action work? Whatever it might be. So I think the case is like oh.
Okay.
All right, he's just going to go for it.
Blade Mages.
Oh.
One of them and an Ogler.
Wow. When you redraw off of Daria and you see 90% of your hand just go bling bling bling, you're just like, all right, yeah. You don't even care what the cards are. Yeah.
It's like, you know, when it makes all the noises and the sound.
Right. And I think Crumsion played it perfectly. He redrew into an amazing hand.
Wow.
And Fantasy just knows. Yep.
Daria. You know what the best thing about Daria is so far? Is that it makes the players just
concede.
Just concede.
That's what I was talking about. The removal does not exist in the game anymore to stop big Daria boards. As soon as it happens, you know you've lost.
Yeah.
That's the power.
He did get to play both of his Breath of the Salamander.
He did. He did.
It just didn't matter.
Did not matter.
Wow.
Unbelievable, Daria. Like, okay. All right, guys. If Daria wasn't on your radar, definitely on your radar now.
Here comes Forest. Interdimensional sharpshooter. Wow, what a flair.
That's right. And I want to remind you guys that the loser of this match specifically will get 4K vials, and then we move on to the 10K and the 30K vial winners.
It's a lot of vials.
So many vials.
I would like 4K vials.
It's enough to build your favorite legendary, and then as soon as you get up to those 10K vials, you can almost build a set. And 30K, you're pretty sweet for for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fantasy is trying to keep his tournament life alive. He's got ramp this time.
Yes, he does. And he's got, this is the type of hand I love to see with Star Phoenix. Star Phoenix just with a bunch of spells that you can cast, get infinite value out of it, and it just helps you maintain for so long without having to do anything extra.
Here it comes. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you've got one threat. Okay, I'm gonna play my ramp spell, kill your threat. Get my threat back.
It's like a carrot that drank an energy drink.
Crumsion has both King Elephants in hand already. Now, a lot of versions of Forest that I've seen are running a single copy of Mystic Ring for this very specific reason. I'm not sure if Crumsion has opted to put a Mystic Ring in his deck or not.
If you play the White Wolf now, I'm pretty sure it's just going to draw you an Elf Queen.
Yep. There are 2 Elf Queens. We have seen those in Crumsion's deck. And honestly, I think that's a good call. Elf Queen's so good right now, especially if you're expecting to play against a lot of Shadow and Burn Runecraft and things like that. It just puts you over the top so that they can't kill you in the end game.
Especially with all the options that Forest has for, Cassiopeias and whatever direct damage options you do go with, as well as new options they have for followers that come in and do based on cards played, right?
Right.
Wiping the board. There are ways to kind of put yourself back over the edge without having to spend evolution orbs. And so the Elf Queen can be pretty good at kind of maintaining your health level and not feeling pretty bad about spending those.
Yeah. So again, we'll just cover a little bit about why are people playing this Forestcraft deck? Like, what does this Forestcraft deck even do? It's a mid-range deck much in the same fashion as the Shadowcraft decks that we've seen are. It's got a couple wards here and there. It does have more healing than Shadowcraft has access to, especially if they're not playing Saris, because then they don't have any. But then it builds to this end game to where they can just smack their opponent in the head, kind of like Dragon does with their Queen of the Dreadseed combo, except it's done differently with King Elephant, Jungle Wardens, and perhaps Loki if they want to play Loki to fully extend their combo with King Elephant.
Evolving into the 4/4, giving that ramp, able to clear the board with the help of a Blazing Breath, and a good turn, and the mill. What is it going to be?
Ooh. That's not too bad.
Would have liked that before.
Yeah. But looks like just more card draw going to be happening, and I think he's going to play out
Yes. Yeah.
2 of these fairies so that he does not have the chance to overdraw.
Yeah. Loki, this is exactly everything. It's coming true. Exo, the Loki elephant.
Loki Elephant is a dream. Unfortunately, again, no reduced costs on these elephants, so they're going to have to do work at the 10 cost by themselves.
I actually think Loki Aaron is a big turn as well.
Yeah.
Getting about 2 evolution orbs, double the health. You gain so much off of that.
I have not seen that very specific play yet. Generally speaking, you can't afford to use it with your Aaron, but against decks like Dragon, especially if they have a low amount of cards in their hand, and you're like, okay, he can lethal me if he does, XYZ thing. I can just stop it if I gain a whole bunch of defense right now.
Oh, Mr. Phil feeling a little chilly.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Lily is pretty good.
Lily might be the best targeted removal spell right now that you can actively play in your deck. Like Call of Casitas, we haven't seen anybody play. Dance of Death is gone.
Nobody plays Odin.
Crystallia Lily just comes down. It's a good 2-drop, and it's a hard removal spell in the late game. It's pretty good.
We talked a bit about cards that work at different stages in the game.
Yep.
Lily is one of them.
Absolutely.
The 2 for 2/2. That is one of the classic lines in Shadowverse. But it has this fantastic effect tagged onto it. What is the plan?
Looks like all in here, you play the Harvest Festival and the Sylvan Justice, and then you get to draw a card off the Harvest Festival at the end.
I love these decks because you get so much card advantage, but you're definitely milling.
Yeah, but I don't think that matters. Again, you already have both your King Elephant, so none of the other cards in your deck really matter at this point.
Yeah, you even have your Loki already.
Yeah,
if you wanted to have a blowout turn like that.
And I think next turn is just going to be Crystallia Aaron, get some defense back, and hopefully deal with his board. Now, if he overdraws a Cassiopeia here, he's not going to feel very good about it.
There it is.
But I think Aaron is the best play. He could go for an Insect Lord type of turn, but he just doesn't really... I mean, I guess, yeah, you have Sylvan Justice, you have Insect Lord, you have fairies that you can play, and then you can draw at the end of the turn. But I think Aaron is just, yeah, I think it's just the best play.
I would save the orb.
I think you save the orb here,
I
yeah.
would save the orb. You definitely need... Ooh, okay. Hey, they're the competitor.
Yeah. So let's talk about this very specific play because it's very important. If your opponent's board is full, they have to trade something in order for them to play something like a Scyther in the first place. So you using the Evolution Orb there doesn't actually net you any card advantage. If anything, it nets you negative because you have to use the Evolution Orb to make that play.
You could have had this Evolution Orb to play whatever else, right? Play a Jungle Warden or something. This is a rough spot.
Ooh, the second Insect Lord is pretty good here.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Just going for the big Crystalia Aaron yet again. Now this Evolution Orb makes sense. Gotta kill the Sybil.
So I think what you're leaning on now is finding a tempo swing in the enhanced Jungle Warden play.
Yeah. And then if Jungle Warden sees play, and then you can play the King Elephant, you start building up to that late game damage that you can finally kill your opponent with. And Fantasy, while doing all the right things all game, has run out of cards. Ooh.
Okay, that might...
That definitely helps.
That is a lot of resources, especially if you're putting that in now. Then you play the Jungle Warden and you haven't actually installed your Israfil.
That's true.
And you're not... I guess you will be healing a lot. So that's good.
So it really just depends on how Crumsion wants to play this. He's got defensive route. He's got offensive route here.
You could play Jungle Warden for the board.
Yeah.
I mean, with perfect information, we know that I feel like that is the best play by far.
Absolutely. You get the damage in.
Yep.
You've defended yourself from any possible lethal play.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
That looks like the play. Now, without saving that one Evolution Orb like we talked about, that means that King Elephant, even say these two Jungle Wardens stayed in play, or even one of them lives, next turn you play the King Elephant Evo, you've got 12 damage. Not possible anymore.
Okay, takes down one of them. Star Phoenix +1. There it is.
Plays the Star Phoenix after using the Breath of the Salamander. A little odd.
Yeah, but closing out the game.
But, yeah, closing out the game. Doesn't really matter about ordering here.
Yeah, I wonder, you know, and Loki showing classically why it's so tough. He's very expensive, even though his effect can be very good.
It's one of those, like, you're good with it against Dragon if they haven't already established something, but, like, notice Fantasy, again, his game. We have not seen a Dragon player execute that game plan yet, which is fill up the board with everything at your disposal, and just keep sending it home. Like, keep clearing the board, keep going face with all of my small followers. I don't need the endgame Dragon normally needs to win the game. Very efficient use of not having what you would expect a Dragon player to need at the end of the game.
I think the downfall for Crumsion there, or really the thing that was less than agreeable, was despite the fact that he drew so many cards during that match, didn't see a single Cassiopeia.
Yeah. Cassiopeia would have definitely turned that around. However, he did have that form of an answer. He did have a turn where he could have played Insect Lord and Sylvan Justice and just cleaned up the entire board.
It's good to talk about Insect Lord as well, right?
Yeah.
Because that seems to be the situation where you're like, I put Insect Lord for this reason.
Right.
In my deck.
Clear the board if I need, especially in multiples.
But it couldn't quite make that happen. And then we see it on screen. Deal X damage to a random enemy follower. X equals the number of cards played this turn, including this card.
That's right. So it's the new version of Rhinoceros, essentially. It's the card that gets value out of every single card you played before it. Now it deals damage to an enemy follower as opposed to the face. Now this hand is very anti-aggro. This is exactly what you want to see against a Burn Rune deck.
Yeah, going to be able to control the early board and force Fantasy to rely primarily on just the spell effects rather than the actual followers.
I will honestly even go as far to say as I think that the Forest versus Burn Runecraft matchup is somewhere close to like 70-30 in Forest favor. Reason I say that is because it has an answer to every single play that Burn Rune can make, even Mage of Nightfall with Insect Lord. It's so good at cleaning up early board states with Airbound Barrage, Cassiopeia.
I mean, you can go triple face here.
You can go triple face
Get
here.
Get your Insect Lord back as a resource.
And then you have Crystalia Erins and 2 Elf Queens to just gain massive health and defense in the late game. And then you just have this big OTK turn where the Burn Runecraft can't do anything about it.
Definitely feel the same way. Oh, and he's going to fill his hand here.
Returning the fairy instead of the insect lord, a little odd.
He does have the second one, and I suppose if you are concerned about reaching a point where you need the elephants to happen and you don't have cards in hand, I guess, but that seems like a long ways off.
Maybe it's a tempo-oriented play, like I want to put the 1 cost back in my hand instead of the 2 cost just because I want to keep flooding the board in a very specific way.
I'm gonna rest for a bit.
Yeah. So I think your Insect Lord could probably do this if you trade a fairy.
Yep. And then next turn, again, you just have a wealth of options to do anything you need to against the Burn Runecraft deck. Now, the only thing that Crumsion is thinking right now is how can I do the most damage in the next 2 turns before this Master Mage Levi becomes a part of the game, I feel.
I almost wonder if you choose to do your Lily and evolve, and the only reason I would say that is to maintain damage for your Cassiopeia.
I think with the Aaron in hand, I don't think you need to. I don't think Cassiopeia is going to play it. Like, Burn Runecraft doesn't play a full board. They play like 1 follower, right? And at max, maybe 2 in the same turn. I think this plays very well into it. Yeah, Evo face. I like this. Fills up the board. You only had to trade off 1 fairy. It's good tempo.
Now you open yourself up to... Okay. He's still 1 play point behind, so he can't do the Levi yet.
Not yet. He's going to try to clear 1 follower here. And then Crumsion does have 4 cards left in hand, so it will actually wipe this out and deal with 1 of the sigils. And honestly, he can deal with... He can finish off this board if he wants to. Or he can just get rid of the sigils while applying some damage to face. He's got really all the options in the world.
With this hand that Crumsion has right now, especially because you haven't seen much card draw on top of it, I think you just lean on a Jungle Wardens as your win condition.
Sure.
Just play to have the most efficient healing and defense. Just start trading out boards.
Yep. There's honestly no reason to not just stay at 20 the entire game against Burn Runecraft, because if you do, they don't have an OTK option. They don't have a way to just kill you in 1 shot, so they have to do it over time. Let's see if he decides to clear board here.
Looking like a true magic show. All eyes on the illusionist.
That's right. These fairies are like,
What's the trick? Rewind it. Play it in slow motion. You ever meet those people who, like, every time they see a video, they have, like, of a magic trick, they go through and, like, click and stop at 2 minutes and 32 seconds. You can see him put the pen back into his pocket. You can see the blacksmith behind him crafting another weapon that he pulls out of his coat.
Yeah. If somebody ever sits down and tries to explain magic to you, you kick that person in the face, because why? Don't ruin magic for me, okay, bro? I've looked behind the veil on magic tricks before, and I learned too much information, and magic became a little worse for me, so I stopped doing it. Now I'm just, you know what, magician? You're awesome. You're great. You do things that I can't explain right away. Perfect.
Yeah. Enjoyable.
That's right. Very enjoyable. Why kill entertainment for yourself? You know what I mean? Why do that?
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, and this game is just looking so hard to come back from.
Oh, yeah. Another added benefit of Cassiopeia would be able to potentially take care of the Mage of Nightfall. But I think you're feeling pretty good with Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron here. Again, don't really need to Evo. However, there is a consideration against Burn Runecraft where they have Mutagenic Bolt, so you kind of want to take out threats when you can. And unfortunately, there will be a gap turn here for Crumsion on turn 9 to not really have too much to do unless he can draw something good off of that Singer.
Yeah, the Singer play seems a little risky. I think you have to Aaron here and then Singer on the next turn.
That's what I mean. Yeah, Aaron for sure this turn. And then you have 1 draw plus a Singer to see if you can put anything up for turn 9. Yeah, it looks like Crumsion feels super comfortable right now. Oh, man, Fantasy top deck, the Witch's Cauldron. That was an ace top deck.
And this is really going to refill options that he, I think, very desperately needs in this scenario. It's really a game of draw right now. What can Crumsion draw in time? Oh, okay, that's not the greatest.
That's good, but, you know, we've got Wood of Brambles to make that a +1. So we've got a 5 damage Cassiopeia plus an Evolution Orb here.
It could be real bad, Exo, or it could be real great.
I mean, either way,
What's it gonna be? Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
That's not the worst.
Pretty good.
I mean, the Evo Orb was going to go into the Professor of Taboos anyway, so unfortunately there was some damage dealt to it from the Cassiopeia. However, again, Crumsion staying at 20 defense the entire game makes it really just impossible to kill the deck. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm talking about, that 70-30 push. It's like, if Burn Runecraft can curve out crazily well, then it can push through, but it just doesn't.
Look
just don't see
at
it.
these top decks.
Yeah.
He just built together a Levi combo. Just
top deck into Professor of Taboos, top deck into Master Mage Levi.
I would not be surprised if it's Wizardess of Oz on his next draw.
Oh, if he Wizardess of Oz's into a Mutagenic Bolt and actually wins this game,
I'm
calling shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm throwing this pen across the room.
I'm calling shenanigans. That's part of the 30% though. You know, sometimes you get those draws. This is just not face.
I like it because you may as well. You're gonna win the long game.
That's true. That's true.
As much time as you can buy for the Elf Queen.
As soon as you draw an Elf Queen, the game just ends. What, he did draw it! Wow!
Crumsion is
what
a genius.
Master.
But he's still in a lot of trouble here. You need to draw, my friend.
Oh, there it is.
This game, come on!
Well, the game looked like
man.
Fantasy had a chance to come back after those top decks.
The first North American Shadowverse Open tournament is really teaching us about karma. It's really teaching us about the balance of the universe and the way things.
That's right. That's right. You top deck 2 sigils and then a Mutagenic Bolt to try to beat your opponent, and then they're like, you know what? Nah, Elf Queen.
Yeah.
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 Yep. Crumsion, I think, is just soaking it in. I think he's just like,
he's just feeling great.
I'm so glad I chose to
Don't
play
miss
Forest
your turn,
today. Yeah, don't run out of time, please. But yeah, so glad I played Forest today. Like, yes, everybody playing Burn Runecraft. This is just great.
Yeah. And you can play the Pure-Hearted Singer 2 as well afterwards, which I think is a great idea. Okay, he's going to play it first.
Yeah, always draw first.
Oh, no. Fantasy feels so bad about that Elf Queen.
Ah.
Start again. Take it from the top.
Yep.
One more time. I heard that too many times in my music school.
And unfortunately, Fantasy has to just go face with everything. He can't afford to trade. Can't afford to play defensively at all.
He's done, right? 7 plus 8 is 15. Last I checked.
That's that.
And the Elf Queen shuts the door. Fantasy came so close to winning that. He actually came so close to winning that.
I know. Unbelievably close.
We were joking about it too. Like,
if he draws this. If he draws this.
Hey, it goes to show you.